Sometimes there'll be music. You might want to try editing in time with that. Rhythm is vitally important, according to your mum. And most importantly, don't show anything that gets this channel into trouble. If the channel's in trouble, I'm in trouble. If I'm in trouble, you're in trouble. Bozeman out.
Okay.
Not for broadcast.
Supposed to let me say hi first, Thel. Jeez.
It's okay, I cut you off. I went to a different camera. Like you do, and not for broadcast.
So before we start, we should say we got this game as a, or from the developer to check out, so.
To check out, yeah. And also it's like super early access. Like only 3 missions exist in this game so far. But they're real good.
So would you say it's more of a demo, or is it just...
I wouldn't say it's a demo. It's more of a, the other ones don't exist yet because it's not finished.
Oh, I've played this game before. If you aren't careful enough, then the big, scary animatronic fox is gonna come out and eat you.
Well, here's the thing. That's a good point. This game is, like, UI-wise, it's a little bit close to Five Nights at Freddy, and that's about it.
Right.
What this
I mean,
game
it
is,
involves using cameras, so.
and talking to a man on the phone.
Is that the Walkman from Metal Gear Solid 5?
It might be. So here, I actually decided to do the tutorial level first. It explains all of the mechanics, and it's really nice that it has like a tutorial level. Now that the viewers bar, believe it or not, you'd think that the viewers would like be sort of dynamic if you did like put on the camera like someone going absolutely fucking apeshit, but they go down. This is a how good you're doing bar, which I found out as time sort of went on. But yeah, the game is really, really in-depth and interesting, and it's a lot. Okay, go on.
So what's the goal of the game? Like,
The
you
goal
said
of the
that's for how
game-
good you're doing bar, but how good at what?
The goal of the game is to make a good television broadcast.
I see.
By,
You are
The live censor button. So you're like doing live editing, basically?
essentially yes. The funny thing is I do live sound mixing, and that actually kind of helps me do this game. Because you sort of have to pay attention to like multiple things at once, and there's a specific mechanic where you have to sort of pay attention to the vocal track that's coming in and the vocal track that's going out, which the vocal track coming in is like a second or two in front of the vocal track that's coming out, so you can like live censor stuff.
I see.
And of course, you gotta like you gotta keep switching to cameras to keep it from getting boring. Like it tells you don't hold on any camera for longer than about 10 seconds. And then down there, while you're doing it, sometimes you have to use your scroll wheel to make sure that you don't run into static.
yeah.
See. What do you mean use your, like...
Like, because you don't want dead air, because that's like a
Yeah.
waste of broadcast
What do you
signal.
mean so that you don't run into static? What is
Okay,
this
so
going to do?
it'll show up a little bit on the right. There's that little grid with the little dot that's blinking. Eventually that'll show up and like static will roll in, and you have to like avoid it with the dot.
By turning the... Is that like a volume thing?
No, that's like the little scroll wheel like moves the dot up and down. It'll show you it in half a second.
What does that represent, though?
Like a tuner, a frequency tuner.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And also you get to choose what commercials you run.
I see. So you're... Okay, this game seems like quite a lot to unpack. Oh my goodness, I am so glad that you were the one who paid for this, because, or not paid for this, who played this, because, I don't think I could have handled it.
I don't know. It looks really complicated, but like when you actually get into it, it's a lot of fun. I kind of really like this game.
It seems like a lot of multitasking, which seems like kind of a
It is
fun
definitely. Yeah, it is definitely like the game is definitely multitasking, And like at some point while I was playing this mission, I was like, you know, this game is kind of like a rhythm game because you're constantly like trying to switch in between cameras to keep it from getting boring. Oh yeah, and here's where the frequency thing comes in. You can see like these so you kind of gotta dodge the the Flappy Birds.
I was just gonna say, you're playing Flappy Bird over there, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, so
So what it's trying to do is distract you with a bunch of bells and whistles so that you forget one of the other whistles or bells.
Yeah,
it's like a
basically.
spinning plates kind of game.
Yeah, and one of the things, like, because you, like, there's a point where you're, constantly switching in between cameras, one of the things was like, wow, this is kind of like a rhythm game, and then the mission after this, it introduces rhythm game mechanics.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Like, if you switch cameras on beat with the music, you get, a bigger combo, and you get, the green bar goes up a lot faster.
That's funny.
Oh, wonderful.
It's great. Oh, also you get to choose which commercials play, and you know they're always funny, and that's like part of the thing.
I see.
Like you know, over on the right side, that's the screen that everyone is seeing, and then over on the left side, this is what's like happening
That's
live.
the camera
Yeah.
feed, yeah.
Yeah,
There's a lot of FMV, which is cool.
yeah. There's a lot of FMV.
It reminds me of those old FMV games that were on like the.
Sega.
I don't even remember what console it was.
Sega
You know,
CD, that's the bitch.
That's it, yeah, you know, the one that was made for FMV games.
Yeah.
That was going to be the future.
And that you'd be willing to buy like $100 peripheral to fucking. Yeah, stay on who's talking. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and of course this man, you guys can't hear it unfortunately, but the thing is this man is like currently describing how to play the game, which is why I thought this was probably, like, a lot of games you can get into and be like, oh, you play it, it's a platforming game, and everyone's gonna be like, yes, I've played one of those. I felt like it was good to do the tutorial for this one because, well, it's kind of a complex game, and it's not like very many other games I have seen before. Again, it's like someone in the Steam reviews for this game said like they do this for a living, and it's actually surprisingly close to how it's actually done. And
Yeah.
again, I do live sound mixing, and I was like, this is about
Yeah, I
right.
went to journalism school, so this is 100% like it's very close to how you do this sort of thing. This one's a little like retro with the like tapes and stuff, but you do something very
Yeah, this
similar.
is an analog system. Most things run on digital.
Yeah, but
I'm used to analog.
like if you ever watch live news, you can see them screw this stuff up all the time too. So this might be like give you an appreciation for like how hard some of that can be sometimes, or make fun of people who clearly shouldn't have screwed up that bad.
Been there in the first place. Yeah, I've been there. Oh, what was it? There's like another thing is like you saw the commercials. This is a tutorial mission, so it essentially just teaches you all of the stuff. So there isn't like a lot of like ways that one of the advertisements of this game is like you can change people's opinions of stuff, and there isn't a lot in this mission. But in like the next mission after this, what you get to do is you get to like choose which image of whatever they're talking about shows up on screen, and you have like a countdown timer to be able to decide like what happens. You can either be like if there's a CEO, there's like a CEO standing with a smile in a business suit, or she's like a CEO drinking while gambling.
BoJack Horseman seen here eating a messy sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But yeah, and you.
From the trailer, it looked like there was one episode where you're like, or one mission where you're like basically making a politician look way better than he is by like muting him when he's saying stupid stuff or something.
Sort of. That might actually be this mission, and in this mission you have to censor a politician when he curses constantly because he's drunk.
Right.
Yeah. Also, in between all of the missions, there's this sort of you know how like Papers, Please had like this thing where like you get like, you know, your wife and son die if you don't get enough money. There's something similar to this, but it's like a dialogue tree choices thing.
Okay.
And it's sort of slightly related to like the broadcast you did the night before.
Uh-huh.
Like, for instance, this broadcast, later on there's going to be these politicians who talk about taxing the rich, and then your rich friend comes to you and is like, I'm going to leave the country, but they won't let me because my passport doesn't work. Can I borrow your passport? And you can decide to give him the passport or decide to not.
Well, that seems like a weird choice. Why would he give them a passport? Well, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that seems neat.
Yeah. Another thing, like, oh, what was it?
That comparison to Papers, Please. Sorry, hold that thought. That comparison to Papers, Please does seem pretty appropriate because, to my understanding, in this game, you are basically running a propaganda machine, right?
Sort of. Well, here's the thing. In Papers, Please, it's very it's very much you're working for the government. In this game, it's like you're deciding which side the people are going to take on any issue.
Okay.
Okay.
So in that sense, you are running a propaganda machine, but it's your choice as to who you're propagandizing for and against.
Right. Okay. So it's not like you have to propagandize this one guy. That's.
Oh yeah, and then there's the sensor mechanic that I screwed up a little bit right there.
Oh.
I got it good the first time, but yeah.
But you weren't ready for it that time.
But I wasn't ready for it.
Do you have to time it, or will it be obvious when you're?
You have to. There are two ways to time it, and the tutorial man explains it. You can either listen for it on the second screen, which is always slightly quieter, but you can turn the second screen up using the volume sliders over there on the ones that are fucking, labeled with tape live and broadcast, as is done in literally everything everywhere. Right now the live one is turned way up and the broadcast one is turned way down, and that's usually how it's done. But you can switch them around to however you want it, and excuse me. You have to censor when the curse word comes up on the broadcast one, because the censor goes into the broadcast bit.
I see. Yeah.
It seems complicated, but it'd probably be easier to figure it out when you're playing, right?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. It's one of those things that you think is really complicated, but then you sort of get as you're doing it, you sort of get it on the fly. It's really nice. But another thing is with the commercials, right? When you're making choices, sometimes you can air commercials for a toy that's incredibly defective, or you put a tape in you put a tape in the thing, and then you hear on the news broadcast, apparently this toy is just giving kids cancer. So you look down at the tape, you eject the tape, and then you put it from one end. Oh shit! Ah fuck!
Or they say, apparently this toy is giving, and then you censor it and play the commercial anyway.
You can also do that. Unfortunately, that would lose you combo points.
Oh man.
Darn.
But yeah. Right, this game has a very rhythm game grading system.
I see.
Wow, this is really interesting.
Yeah. I kind of really like this game. I'm sad it's only 3 missions, but the missions that they give you are really good and fun, and I'm excited to see more of it.
Johnny Ham Sleeves, and I'm not fat, but you are.
Yeah.
That's funny. So is there anything else you want to say about this, or?
Now it's talking about censorship.
There's another thing that's sort of, oh, what was it? There's another thing later. There's always all of the 4 screens and stuff and what's going on. There's an archive system where you can watch what you made. There's an archive system where you can watch all of the behind-the-scenes stuff where you were paying attention to, for instance, you were paying attention to the static stuff to make sure you didn't do that, and so you couldn't see all of the people constantly arguing. So you can go and watch that. It's nice. It's nice. It gives you all sorts of time to watch all of the FMV stuff. I love it, and it's also a very funny game. I really like that about it.
Right. I wonder if it gets more in depth in the kind of I don't know, censorship angle or whatever, and later on.
I assume it will. Like, because it definitely gets more in-depth mechanically, but I assume, like, plot-wise, it gets more in-depth as time goes on, and that was sort of the implication with, like, after you do this mission, like, you have a friend who's, like, going to be taxed, and he's, like, you see the sort of real-world consequences of what you do, same with, how you get, like, those new snippets in Papers, Please.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Right. So yeah,
and here are the politicians coming in.
Oh yeah, this will be fun to check out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is an early.
In his hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an early look at this game, so we'll maybe check in on it later, like once it's been out for a while too.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Sure they're gonna have more missions added.
Oh yeah, definitely. And a lot of time. Oh, another thing about this game is you can see, like, my hand is over the cameras, but I'm still pressing the sensor button. Oh, you're doing a lot of stuff like that, where, like, one of your things you're going to be using the mouse to physically press the buttons on the thing, and then you're going to be using the keyboard shortcut to do another thing, which is a lot of fun.
Well, it looked like there was keyboard shortcuts for everything, like the.
Yeah, there are. And what I like to do is sort of, like, have one hand doing one part of it and the other hand doing the other part. Like, here I have I'm doing the sensor on the spacebar, and I'm mousing the camera buttons. And you can do, like, keyboard spacebar and keyboard camera buttons, or the other way around. And you know, it basically it gives you just a billion ways to multitask this. It seems very complicated, and it is, but it's one of those things that's like, you get it. You'll get the hang of it.
Right. Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like it.
Here you're censoring the guy.
Yeah.
And that waveform that basically shows you what part he's gonna be
gives
talking
a little,
or whatever.
like, yeah, it gives a little red line over the curse words, so you can visually look at the waveform, or you can, like, listen for the sensor.
Yeah. I think, like, scientifically, people have better timing for audio cues than visual cues because your ears sync with your brain faster than your eyes do.
That might be true.
I know that sounds really weird the way that I put it, but I'm not a scientist. I'm a guy.
I know your eyes have, like, a good bit of delay, and I don't know if, like, the ears do more or anything. Like, I honestly have no idea.
I've heard the opposite in certain situations, like, if someone's far away and they yell to you, but they also raise their hand, you'll see their hand before you hear the audio.
Oh, yeah. That's
because of distance, you know.
Yeah.
Traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably just depended on the situation. I'm sure that people react faster if they have multiple stimulus going in, so...
Right. So, is there...
With the waveform you have... Oh,
no, go ahead.
With the waveform you have a little bit of advanced warning, because you can just cut... Yeah. It's
yeah.
There. It's nice
and it, like, lights up for you, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good game, and I would recommend it to everyone. It's a lot of fun. You can get your high score combo, or you can make a horrible bastard video where you show the dude and on the other camera secretly masturbating. It's fun.
Censor every word that isn't a swear word. Guys just talking, it's like...
Fuck!
You just change the video to this guy in the corner just staring off into space.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We have an affiliate link to this game in the description if you'd be interested in purchasing it and helping us out. And yeah, so... Oh, we have a Patreon, and join our Discord. We're pretty active on there, and we like to chat with our viewers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time, and remember, as always...
Stay beautiful.